I'm going to call Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Very enthusiastic I am to take a call too. And my colleague Carol Beaumont and others will no doubt be taking a number of calls on this part one of the bill. I firstly want to address a couple of questions to the Minister, and in particular I want to just help him in many ways understand what is in part one of the bill, because people listening to the debate tonight around New Zealand could have gained the impression, if they were, as he described, the person, the woman who worked part-time processing in a fish factory and picking fruit, that the legislation in front of us tonight was going to bring them in to paid parental leave here in part one. It was going to bring them in, and it doesn't. And I don't understand why the Minister, who apparently is responsible for this bill, actually doesn't know what's in part one. Now, perhaps he's been kept out of the process. That is possible up to now. But I think the Minister should probably get up and take a call and say to all of those people who he's just told are going to be brought into the paid parental leave regime by this legislation that they're not. They're actually not. And so the Minister could get up and tell it. Well, that's a good point, Mr Shearer. Why did Simon Bridges tell New Zealanders that this bill does something that it doesn't? So that's my first. Yeah, and whether or not the costings actually that we've heard today about paid parental leave actually include those. So there's a second question for Simon Bridges. But I've got another question. For him, and I know 3 questions will be about as many as the Minister can handle at once, so I'll only ask 3 on this occasion. And that is, we're here under urgency on a Thursday evening passing this legislation. The Labor Party agrees that paid parental leave is something that is important, is something that we want to see increased, and the other side of the House says, get on with it. All right then, who was that? Which one's it? Mr Mitchell. All right then, Mr Mitchell, get on with it. How about bringing this in sometime soon? How about bringing it in this year? How about bringing in 18 weeks next year? No, 2016 until that.
Mr Chair.
Point of order, Mark Mitchell.
I'm not sure why Mr Robertson's chosen to bring me into the debate. I was busy doing my work. He's chosen to do that. No. Order. When I'm standing, there will be silence. I'm standing. That wasn't a point of order. All right? Now, Grant Robertson.
Mr Chair, look, I apologise to Mr Mitchell. Particularly because it was Mr Bennett, so I really do owe him an apology for that. Because if that side of the House are telling us to get on with it, how about the National Party gets on with paid parental leave? How about it gets on with bringing in 16 weeks now and 18 weeks next year? And how about it actually commits to 26 weeks? Because one thing we can say, Mr Chair, is that the Labor Party has been consistent about this. Sue Moroney's bill came in, what year did it come in? 2012, was it?
Oh, no, I think it was drawn in about
early 2013, this bill's been before the House. 26 weeks paid parental leave. The Labor Party has said that. We have a policy of going to 1 year. We've said 26 weeks from the beginning of last year. And the National Party finally wakes up. It finally wakes up and says, under pressure from groups like 26 for Babies and from Sue Moroney and all the submitters on her bill, they finally wake up and say, yes, we're going to do paid parental leave. And then they say, oh, maybe not till 2016. Maybe not till 2016. So we're here tonight under urgency for something that isn't going to happen until 2016. So I would like the Minister to get on his feet, apologise to all of those people that he's misled about the fact that this legislation actually does nothing to bring them into the paid parental leave regime, and then explain to New Zealanders why we're here under urgency for a bill that actually in part one does not come into force properly until 2016. And the thing here for the government is that Simon Bridges and the National Party are only doing this under urgency tonight to try to spike Sue Moroney's private members' bill. That is it. It's pure politics. It's politics as usual from the National Party, putting us in under urgency to try and claim that there's something urgent about their commitment to paid parental leave. Well, Mr Chair, the National Party's commitment to paid parental leave is timid, and it's late in coming to the party. That is the National Party on paid parental leave. Mr Chair, I believe that Part 1 of this bill should be supported because it's as good as we're going to get out of the National Party. But Sue Moroney has a supplementary order paper, Mr Chair.
I'll call Grant Robertson.
Mr Chair, Sue Moroney has a supplementary order paper on the table to do the right thing today, and that is to go to 26 weeks now. In this bill, by 2016, 26 weeks. That is the right thing to do. We know it's affordable. And Simon Bridges, when he got on his feet to do his call earlier on, said, the National Party's done the work. The National Party's done the work to do this. Well, actually, the reality is that it's the Labor Party and the interest groups like 26 for Babies who've done the work, who've been able to come up with the costings that are real, not the imagined costings that Bill English had in 2013, but the real costings that are affordable. And we've heard from other speakers on the opposition side during the first and second readings of this debate about why 26 weeks matters. Why 26 weeks matters? Because that is the minimum bonding time, the minimum time for bonding in terms of breastfeeding, the minimum time for creating the bond between mother and baby. It puts New Zealand just up into the bottom third of the OECD. And earlier on, the National Party backbenchers were saying what an outrageous thing it would be to go to 26 weeks, how utterly unaffordable and odd and unusual it would be. Well, right now, we're second last in the OECD for paid parental leave. Second last. The only country behind us is the United States, who have none. They have no paid parental leave, and we are second last. So this timid response from the National Party crawls New Zealand up the OECD in terms of paid parental leave. But they could be here tonight with a bill that said 26 weeks by 2016. And I want to challenge Mr Chair, and towards the end of this call, other parties in the House to support the SOP in Sue Moroney's name. Because parties like the United Future Party and the Māori Party have said that they will support 26 weeks. Now, I understand that they have agreements with the government, but here on the table is something. We're not actually in the budget legislation right now. We're in a separate piece of legislation. It's not the budget debate. Here's the opportunity for Peter Dunn and the Māori parties to support Sue Moroney's SOP on Part 1 of this bill, to take it to 26 weeks, to do the right thing. Because what we've seen, Mr Chair, throughout this year is the politics as usual of the National Party. Every second Wednesday night, filibustering, spinning out the debate, making sure that we don't get to paid parental leave, making sure that Sue Moroney's bill doesn't come up. And Mr Chair, today the National Party thinks it's urgent. Last Wednesday they wanted to stop it, or 2 Wednesdays ago they wanted to stop it. That's not good enough. New Zealand families, the parents and the children who will benefit from this, needs some decisive action. They need a government that's actually prepared to stand on principle. That's what the Labor Party has done on paid parental leave, going back to 2002. National opposed it in 2002. Nationals filibustered throughout this year to stop it, and suddenly it's urgent to timidly step forward to 16 weeks and then to 18 weeks. Do the right thing, National Party members. Vote for the SOP. Peter Dunn and the Māori Party, vote to take this to 26 weeks. Today is a good day, Mr Chair, for parents around New Zealand, because they will get an extension to paid parental leave, and we should celebrate that extension, timid as it is. But today could also be the day that members across the House say New Zealand parents deserve and need 26 weeks paid parental leave, and they should support Sue Moroney's SOP.
Call David Bennett.
I move that the question be now put.
I'm going to call Jan Logie.
Mr Chair,